of a bullet hell kind of person.
Actually, my first one.
Okay,
So
so yo, we're live right now, and let's
What's
let's
up?
do let's do a quick mic check. Check, check.
Hello, hello,
hello, this is a test.
hello.
Okay, all right, yo, what's up? Welcome to Let's Talk episode 5. This is your host, Theslykrow, and this is the show where we talk about some of the big gaming headlines and what's trending in the gaming media. And so I'm here once again with my man Agent Deli.
Hello, welcome to our show. Thank you for having me back again.
And yeah, if you guys don't know, Aiden Deli is an awesome guy, and he's also an ex-developer at Ubisoft. So he knows the in and outs of what goes down in the gaming development scene. And so I also have my guy, Joker Gamer V3.
What's up?
I appreciate you coming through, and we also have a special guest here. This is the Ashen One, and also the Queen of Dark Souls, the TheAshenLuca.
Oh, I just noticed I was muted. My bad. Hi. Yes. Thanks so much for having me.
All right,
Appreciate the invite. What's
yeah,
up, Dre? What's up, brother?
yeah, I definitely appreciate it, and I just want to say I've been a huge fan of Luca over the years, and I really do appreciate you coming on, and shout out to the Scumcast and Slow Mo Meta and All Day and all of those guys. They've been doing such an awesome job on your show, and I
Shout
definitely
out to them
appreciate you
too.
guys coming on here. I appreciate you, Luca, for you coming on here.
Sure, man.
All right, yeah. So the title of this show is the coveted PlayStation 5, as actually Sony had revealed their earnings report and things are looking amazing for Sony. So it's definitely a good look for Sony. But the irony of it is that it's still hard to find a PS5 these days. So it is still pretty hard to find it. And I actually wanted to ask Deli this question. How did you get your PS5?
Oh, my PS5, Sony Direct. I got mine through Sony Direct. I was on a call, not on a call. I was on a wait list, and I was actually trying a whole lot. This is probably like my 10th time trying it. Me and my brother were driving down the highway, and he had said that Sony Direct is up, so I had decided to hop on it, kind of as like a joke. And by the time I got home, it pushed me through, and then I lost my marbles. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so we'll be talking about the PlayStation success and much later on in the show. But for now, go ahead and start with Resident Evil 8 and let's give our impressions. And so right now, I'm just gonna start by saying that Capcom, they've been on a very good streak as of late when they're releasing quality games. And honestly, man, like Capcom does not miss when they release AAA bangers. And we saw this earlier in the year when Monster Hunter Rise was released on the Switch. The fact that they were able to put the RE engine on the Switch and it looked very fantastic and very very pretty on the Switch. And so and also with Resident Evil 8, like it's also no exception to that, as I really thought this was a very good game. And like when you talk about the graphics and the textures and the lighting, when you go into Lady Dimitrescu's castle, it's definitely very exciting to see. And like I'm not gonna lie, like anytime I went to a new room, like the first thought I had was I had to take a screenshot because it looks so pretty and everything. And so I'm gonna pass this to Delhi. And so, what were your impressions of Resident Evil 8?
So as you all know, I did not finish Resident Evil 7 because I am too scared once I got to the garage. So Resident Evil 8 for me was something that it was technically my first full experience in like the rebooted segmented series of Resident Evil. Whereas like the previous one, I think in 2014, Resident Evil 6 was still your generic over the shoulder action survival horror game. This one is a little bit more focused on bringing it closer down to its roots of the survival horror genre. I had a lot of fun with it. I did think that the last half of the game was, to me, watered down, and for others of the series, I would say that it's more like classic Resident Evil, which is something that I really was hoping that Capcom was going to reinvent itself on and go for just the more survival horror aspect. So for me, I enjoyed the castle and then the second segment much more than I did the third, fourth, and finale.
Mm. Yeah, I am 6 hours in, and I just gotta say, like, the level of detail of these levels that they've made is very awesome to see. And like, going from location to location, like, there's such a variety of the landscapes and the rooms you go into. So I really appreciate them taking effort into creating such awesome levels.
Yeah. I can't speak for you. I don't know which platform you're playing it on. I can speak on the PlayStation 5. I haven't encountered any loading screens. But I did encounter occasional stuttering in the latter half of the game. Which is something
Ooh.
that I understand that the RE engine is, and what Capcom and the RE engine are doing for their pipelining. I understand what's causing that. But the first half of the game for me, it ran at a flawless 60 FPS. I think the largest dip I've had was 1 frame a second, transitioning between a door, and I think that was going from section 2 to section 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I never really played the game, but I've
Mhm.
been watching a lot of gameplays. I've been watching a lot of streamers play it and everything. And to be honest with you, like, I would have bought the game, but again, for me, spending money on the game for something that I would not probably play, because I'm basically chicken shit when it comes to playing horror games, right?
Yeah.
I'm legit, like, I get scared very quickly. So like, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna spend it, but I will watch other people play it. So while I was watching the game, I was quite actually impressed with a certain amount of details, especially in the house, right? When you
Mhm.
walk through the house and everything. And I was there like, yo, this looks very detailed. Like, every single thing over here is like dope. Looks like as if a real setting.
Yeah.
And also, I was quite impressed with the voice acting too, with the certain characters, and the ambience, the whole eerie feeling. I was there, like, even while I was watching this gameplay, I was like, yeah, thank God I didn't buy it, because I'll be like, yeah, I'll only touch it for 1 hour and I'll stop playing it.
Yeah. I would say though that it definitely delivers on that psychological horror in the first two
Mhm.
sections of the game. The
Hmm.
latter
Yeah.
3 sections of the game are more action oriented. It brings it back down to that, like I said, that action third person shooter kind of deal. So you probably, if you make it to the latter half of the game, you'd probably enjoy that a lot more. It much less focused on horror and more focused on action. It kind of, for me, the last half of the game flew by much quicker than the first half of the game. The first section is a lot more. It's a lot more ambience. Um, it's much akin to something like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, where you have like Mr. X. Like following you around,
Mhm.
because that's what Lady D does through the castle. And then the second section is much akin to something like PT or Silent Hills. It's very reminiscent of that psychological horror, something like Fatal Frame, Siren Blood Curse, and Silent Hill. All three contemporaries or cohorts of Resident Evil itself. Um, yeah, I
Hmm.
personally, to me, the second section is my favorite. While it's the most terrifying, and I do think that it presents some of the best scares in the series. It is something for me because we were denied of Silent Hills and or PT with Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. I think that the second section of the game is the closest we'll ever get to something like a PT experience in the current day and age.
Yeah. And for me, like, in the castle, when you get into the underground sections, like,
Mhm.
that was pretty nerve-wracking. And like, when you had to go through like those dungeon caves in the basement, and
Yeah.
especially the wine distillery area. Like that was a trip right there, and like it was just and people were saying, like I heard like people were very very negative of the fact that they did read a report, and the report was saying that like, oh, we listened to the feedback of Resident Evil 7 of their fan base, and oh, we had to turn down the horror because people said that the horror level of Resident Evil 7 was too much. And so how do you feel about that, Deli, for this game?
My sentiments are the exact same as Shinji Mikami's The Evil Within. So the first game, Bethesda released a statement that it was too scary, which is it ultimately impacted sales, which is why Evil Within 2 turned into something more like Resident Evil, was a third-person action shooter. Um, I'm a little upset because we've been kind of searching for experiences, or at least as a as a horror genre community, we've been kind of searching for an experience that is a little bit more like the early 2000s kind of horror, something a little bit more outlandish, something a little bit more risque, that tackles like heavier topics like suicide, depression, that kind of thing. Um, and I really definitely felt like the second section of this game was tackling that. I definitely felt like The Evil Within 1 and 2 were on its way to tackling that, but then decided to peel back and say that, like, we probably shouldn't do anything too risque, which is which is a lot of the reason why we haven't seen things like Fatal Frame, Siren Blood Curse, and Silent Hill really make a comeback in this last decade, from the 2010s into 2020. I'm a little disappointed in Capcom. Like I said, I obviously want Resident Evil to be more than just an action shooter, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they're in the business to make money, not in the business to make games. So,
Yeah. And like for me, I really thought this was for the first half at least, I really thought this was a very good horror experience. How that first hour, like, yo, that was like a crazy, like it's a crazy sequence there. It's kind of like a scripted sequence in a way, like how like all the zombies came up and showed up, and like you had to hide in a house. Like that was a trip, and just hearing all the zombies around you, that was pretty nerve-wracking. And also,
Yeah,
like,
there was
in the when you had to go into the Lady Demetrius castle and you had to go underground, like they really put you in like tight situations and like eerie locations. And so I really liked exploring those, and it got my heart racing, in those sections, which was pretty scary.
which
there
is,
was
like I said. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say that, which is why I like the first half of the game more, because I felt like there's genuine horror there, and the ambience, that psychological thriller aspect, and whereas the last half a lot more action oriented. And when I hopped in the last half towards the finale, it definitely felt like I was playing something more like Call of Duty. Um, and I just became much less scared of the game in general. I no longer felt like I was playing the same game, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just was run and gun, and it really kind of took me out of the experience. Yeah, I felt like there
Like
was a disconnect between the first half and the second half.
like the
Mhm.
one thing that like I was gonna say was there was a part, I don't know exactly where it is. It's like just when you get your sniper, right, and you come out of that area and you just come across this gargoyles looking thing, which kind of
Mhm.
looks like mosquito bats to me, because they look
Yeah.
like a shape of a mosquito with bats like merged together. And at this whole entire area, it has just had that eerie feeling, like you had that voice going off, like echoing in the background,
Mhm.
like some guy's talking to you, and then all of a sudden Lady D just pops up out of nowhere because you just did some kind of a mistake. Bro, I kid you not, I just stopped watching the guy stream, and I was there like, yeah, I'm not watching this any longer. If I want to watch a horror movie, I'll watch a horror movie later on. Forget this.
Yeah.
No, but to be honest with you, I like, it's a good thing that you told me that, really, because I was really, even though I don't like to buy a horror game as much, and I was a thing, but hearing that last segment of what Deli said about being like a Call of Duty experience, I think that would have annoyed me more after purchasing the game, and then afterwards just like, having that whole scary feeling from point A, then afterwards point B, just having to just be like a full on action sequence, I'll be like, yeah, you just kind of turn it into like just a normal casual game now.
Yeah.
So I would have been quite annoyed with it. But good shout though. So now I know I
Yeah.
won't be buying
Yeah,
the
because
game.
that first section in the castle is a lot of resource management. It's a lot of like gathering things. You're still upgrading your arsenal. You're still like building
Mhm.
it. So, like I said, a lot of it is resource management. The second section actually is, like I said, the best part because they take your inventory. You actually you aren't able to fight, and you have no weapons. You have no ability to defend yourself. It's strictly psychological thriller. That third part of the section was to me, it was a lot of money management. At least I played on casual. I had a lot of excess of things. So
Mhm.
to me, I was like, oh, I'm just going to buy things. And then once it got to that point, it felt more action oriented. And then that last part was straight Call of Duty. I had, because of the loadout, the weapons, the situation that I was given in that finale, I didn't feel like um, the Lycans or any of the enemies that I previously encountered were of any threat. Maybe that was influenced because I played on casual mode, but like I said, it really did take me out of the experience. And I feel like Joker, if you were to play the game, you would probably be annoyed because there is a disconnect between the first half and the second half when it comes to game design and overall like plot theory.
Yeah, so it's like for me, plot is very important. Like
Mhm.
when I play a game, story-rich experience, and also elements of playing the game, exploring, all of these kind of things all match up to me. So if the story disconnects, I'm not gonna lie to you, I will kind of get irritated straight away, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm just not gonna carry on playing this anymore because there's no point in me carrying on. What's the point in the story now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, good shout though. So now I know I don't have to buy it.
But
Really?
do watch it. Do watch it.
Yeah. I'll
The
watch
latter half. Yeah,
I will watch it, but I won't be playing it. So
that makes sense.
do you know what I mean? But interestingly enough, Luca, you've been quiet. So what do you think about Resident Evil? And have you ever tried playing any of the Resident Evil games, or what's your take on it? If you don't mind me
I
asking.
personally, am very much someone who gets scared easily. So
So in
I,
the same boat,
yeah, I avoid scary games with a
point blank.
swiftness. So I typically watch YouTubers play through scary games
Mhm.
like the Rad Brad. I have a lot of fun watching
Mhm.
him. So I've been watching him play through it, and it looks great. Honestly speaking, I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of my friends who actually like this genre say that they really enjoyed the game, which is awesome. But it's just not for me personally.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I've heard people, comparing this game to Outlast, and I don't really get that comparison because, like, bro, like in Outlast, you had to carry a camcorder just to see in the dark, and like, that's a whole
So
nother experience, like you have no weapons to
yeah.
defend yourself, and it's just,
You also can't fight back, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
So like if you can't really compare Outlast, because Outlast is just focused on like surviving throughout the whole entire journey aspect of things, right? So I don't know if you ever played Outlast 2 and Outlast 1, in fact, but in
I
Outlast
did.
2,
I played the first one.
so the second one actually starts off in like a helicopter crash, right?
Mhm.
And then afterwards you just go, you have to try and find your way out, and then you come into this town. I don't know if it's the first one or second one, I'm just getting mixed up, but the
it's the
general
second
concept
one.
is the same. Yeah, so general concept is like you just have to navigate through your village, and you just have to like hide so that you don't get caught, and then afterwards trying to overcome that psychological barrier, eventually pursuing to the very end, and then being free, kind of a thing. But interestingly enough, if you compare Resident Evil, like, bro, if you give me a gun in Outlast, I kid you not, every single fat
becomes way
Jesus
better.
out there, every single fat Jesus out there, like portraits of fat Jesus, he's gonna get shot at, because that is the most freakiest thing that I've actually witnessed on Outlast. Right? Could you imagine
Yeah.
going into some, like, you enter a shelter and all of a sudden you come across Fat Jesus? Like, picture, like, bro, what the hell?
I
Get
think
me
that
out.
Outlast's game design, or at least Red Barrel's game design, was much different from Capcom's.
Mhm.
Outlast is very jump scare, audio heavy,
Mhm.
and that's something that if you were to play the game on mute, Outlast is considerably much less scary, if not at all. That's something that Resident Evil. There's a benefit to Resident Evil is that if you turn off the volume on Resident Evil, it's not audio heavy. There are still lots of quality content inside Resident Evil that enhances the horror feel to it, whereas Outlast feels like, ironically enough, a one and done experience where you play it, all the jump scares are there, and you already know exactly what's going to happen the first playthrough or the second by the second playthrough. So
I,
it wears.
ironic,
Yeah,
Ironically enough, like, I don't know if you ever guys even heard, like, played or heard about Blair Witch Project.
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
I
It
think
was
I
Definitely.
heard
based,
about it, but I
Yeah.
did not
it
play it.
it
And they
was
also had
based
a
on the
VR game as well, and
Mhm.
yeah. So it was based on the actual movie, like Blair Witch Project, the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
right? But it's not following the same, a storyline and everything like that. But it had a similar concept of Outlast, where you have your camera, you're walking around with your camcorder and everything like that. So we all knew Blair Witch Project was a jump scare, just like Outlast. Outlast is just purely jump scare. It will make you shit your pants like half the time, just coming across certain things, and you'll be sitting there going, "Hey man, I did not sign up to this. When I bought a horror game, I just expecting to carry a gun to start shooting people, right? But now you're giving me a camcorder, which kind of works as a gun. Like, yeah, that experience compared to Resident Evil experience. Resident Evil is like, you got a gun, you can actually kill that thing down.
Yeah.
You can actually shoot that thing down. So there is no way, like, you can how do you call it, try and avoid that scenario kind of a situation, right? Whereas in Outlast, you can navigate around, you can try and hide, and you can avoid that scenario. So if you compare both of those games, I think that's an unfair comparison, as they say.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it
you
like
have to hold each of it on its own merits, and then, if you want to compare the graphics, the visualizations, like, the engine that is running on, and etc. and so on. But you can't just compare the gameplay to gameplay experience, because it's meant to be two different things, right?
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, in some aspects it is kind of the same, but I really don't see the comparison there. And so actually we do have a tweet here from Benji Sales, and he actually reported that RE Village was the first in the series to pass 100K concurrent players on Steam. And this is definitely a good look for for Capcom sales, as they're doing crazy numbers on Steam. And also, I really do think the RE2 remake, set the tone for, just setting the bar for, like, the graphics was amazing on the RE engine, running on PC. And also, we have here RE2 remake broke the sales before on Steam, with that title topping 75,000 peak concurrent players. And so that's really great to hear. And so I have a question for you guys, actually. And so, we know that the thirst is real for Lady Dimitru. And so I asked you guys, like, do you think most of these sales are simps of Lady Dimitru? Because, do you think that they're waiting for someone to create a mod for, like a lingerie mod or something like that?
The mod's already been created. I saw a video on it. Just want to put it out
Yeah,
there.
you're a
Oh,
little
really?
late there, Crow. The
You're
mods
Yeah,
were
yeah,
created.
yeah, yeah.
They were created day one, buddy.
All right, my bad.
Within the first hour. No,
Right.
I think that it's Capcom playing into the audience of Resident Evil 7. I mean, they had about 75,000 concurrent players on
Mhm.
Steam in Resident Evil 7, so it's really technically only 25,000 more concurrent anyways. Resident Evil 7 also was a big seller. I think it sold like 8.5 million copies. So that's something that I feel like no. Plus, as a person who's played Resident Evil 8, Capcom is very brilliant in their marketing strategy. They kind of played a bait and switch with the whole Lady D situation going on. She's not in the game for very long. Spoiler
Yeah,
alert. So that's something that's a lot of these guys, or a lot of people on the internet, were cosplaying, were making art, and really pushing the game. I do think that there was a lot of hype surrounding it, but I do think that Capcom really played into the strengths of the community, and not so much, you know, just really selling one character and that was it. I don't think she had that much of an impact on the
like
game sales.
I agree with Deli's point of view in this, especially when it comes to like if you say simping and all of this kind of things. Like, yeah, I can see, but you got to understand that's like you look at this as a whole pie chart. Like, you got 100% of the players who are just focused on the Resident Evil, and you got like the 2% over there that's just like the little thing that's actually all called Sims, and then you got the little pervert people over there who will create mods for all of these kind of things, right? To cater to all of these kind of things. So, I would generally say, like, from what I thought, like, as a person, as a guy who's known the Resident Evil franchise, but hardly playing as much, it was interesting for me to see what this character was going to bring to the table rather than, oh yeah, she looks hot or like she looks cool or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So it was just like, I just wanted to see like how much more of an impact that she can create on this franchise. Like, of course, and the way the trailer was and the way that she was acting, like, the voice acting, the whole entire like movement, like the way she was walking around and owning the place, the way she was talking and everything, kind of made me feel like, yo, low key, like this woman's got some power behind her. Otherwise, she's not gonna be flaunting around like this, no chance. Do you know what I mean? It's just like me. Like, if I had some kind of a power over something, I'll be like, hey man, get off my lawn. Do you know what I mean? But apart from that, yeah, Capcom did a very good, baiting situation over here when it comes to like selling the character and making like a small little fan base just for this character. And then you got this bunch of people out there who are a bit perverse minded, and then afterwards you got like, who wants to like kind of they get this little bit of a high just by providing these little mods and everything for all these other perverse minded people. So it was just like, yeah. But honestly, I think it was just a whole sales point of view that actually got the recognition that they needed, and Capcom has done a very good, um, marketing strategy behind it.
Yeah, they did a really great job with that. They saw the community reaction to Lady D and they really ran with it, and that was
Mhm.
smart of them. Especially since I've seen the videos and it was like
Mhm.
Deli was saying, there's she's barely in the game, but
Mhm.
what we see of her is really nice. And honestly speaking, it's like Joker was saying, like things that happen on the internet don't always translate to real life events or real life sales. So just because a bunch of people were like thirsting over Lady D doesn't really mean anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so another complaint a lot of people had was the game length was only 8 to 10 hours, and honestly, like I think when it comes to a game like Resident Evil, I think what matters more is the overall experience, and I really thought this was a really good AAA experience. It's definitely worth your money, and so I'm gonna pass this to Deli. So did you think game length of this game was the issue?
Well, you already know my stance. Money is not really an issue for me when it comes to buying new games. So strictly going for that, value per hour argument, it doesn't translate well for me. I think I had a great time playing the game. Personally, I had a lot of fun playing the game. I can see myself playing the game again. Towards the end of the game, there's a bunch of unlockables and your standard like early 2000s stuff. All that extra all that extra content that's added in, especially some of it being some weird Resident Evil stuff. So I definitely feel like I could play the game again, especially towards the latter half of the game. And then the first half of the game, I like I said, I really enjoyed that second section, so I'll gladly play the second section again. And then with all that extra like cheat codes and stuff, I definitely feel like there's replay value in the game to just explore. There was a section of time after the castle during the second section before I started it that I wanted to go back and explore the castle, but I could not find my way in. So I definitely feel like there's replay value there, just simply because I want to unlock everything before I move on to the next section. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's perfectly fine. Much like Resident Evil 2, I'm probably gonna get like 14 hours out of this game. For me, that's a-okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for my take on that is like, as long as it provides content, I mean, even if it is 8 hours or 10 hours, but you get this whole rich environment, like the whole entire storyline focus driven in that kind of a thing, I don't mind buying it. But obviously, before what you said, what Deli said before is like there are certain latter part of it, there's the story doesn't make sense. Like that would have, like, if I actually had to buy the game and play it straight away, that would annoy me quite a lot. Again, repeating myself on this point. But however, 8 to 10 hours, I mean, man, you gotta understand they crammed a lot of shit in this 8 to 10 hours. Like, if you are no life in this game, 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours don't mean nothing. Like, but if you actually, like, imagine I'm a casual player. Like, I go to work, I come back, I can only log on to the game for like an hour. So by the time I reach this one particular segment, I might have come across a lot of unlockables or whatever it is that I would have been wasting my time on. Do you know what I mean? So that itself says volume, because when you got people who are like dedicated gamers who sit there and their main general income comes from gaming, 8 to 10 hours doesn't mean a lot, right? But
Yeah.
if you're a casual player, it does definitely means a lot of things, because you're like, oh, you'll be going to work and you'll be like, I can't wait to go home and play this game for another hour or so. And then, I want to see what I can find and everything like that. But if you start the game now and you can finish it within 8 to 10 hours and you're streaming this, people will be coming to your stream for that last 8 to 10 hours, and then they'll be like hyping it all up. Then once you finish the game, you don't have anything else to go back on but the previous games. You'll be like sitting there kind of feeling salty a little bit, like, I wish I had more content that I could do. Do you know what I mean?
Or the streamer can like replay it in like the hardest difficulty and like
but
so
why here's my thing, like, as a streamer, yes, you can go back and start playing the hardest difficulty, but why go through that hassle of going through that difficulty again and reliving the same experience for the next 8 to 10 hours if you have to? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense to him in any way. So he'll be like, oh, why don't I play a game with viewers, for example? Let me just load up like a Stream Racer or Stream on Marbles or whatever it is, Marbles on Stream or whatever it is, and I can just hype up the community in that kind of sense for the next 2 to 3 hours. And then he can just close his stream because he can probably generate more income in that kind of sense. Do you know what I mean? So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to tie this into my next topic, and I actually wanted to go back to, we did talk about the value proposition in our last episode, and I actually wanted something to add to that. And so, let's get right into this topic here. And, I really do think there is a fatigue right now in open world gaming. And so, you notice that, more and more companies are releasing open world type games. You had Horizon Zero Dawn, you had Red Dead Redemption 2, Ghost of Tsushima. But, as you said, Deli, they did a pretty good job, with their open world. So I do agree with that. And yeah, you had AC Valhalla, and also like pretty much like all of Ubisoft games these days are open world. And so, so the pitch of many of these companies are like, hey guys, we got a big ambitious game that you can spend over 80 hours in. You can have a second life in our game, and you can have love and babies too. This is worth $70, bruh.
I kid you not,
So
right?
that's my meme voice. So I hope you guys enjoy that.
I kid you not. You know, when he brought out the voice, I was there like, who just popped into a chat over here? Like, I was mad. But then I realized this guy is legit pulling the voice acting. Okay, I see you, Krow. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been practicing that voice for a bit, so hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, like for real, like do you guys think there is the open world fatigue? Because like honestly, like I feel like all of these companies like they feel like, oh, we should make our game open world because that's the best value per dollar, type of situation there.
My take on it is very simple. I'm tired of open world games. I'm sorry. I'm just exhausted playing open world games because it's the same repetitive nature over and over again. Just going over here, exploring, coming back. Oh, great. I found something. Let me go and stash it in my freaking inventory, and then afterwards go on, carry on. It's like I'm just tired, like, doing the same thing. Like, I'm just so, like, recently most of the games I play feel like it's an open world, and I'm kind of fatigued by it. You know what I mean? So it's just, I just enjoyed the first 2 hours of it. Now I'm just kind of bored.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And like, to be honest, like I really, for the first part, I did enjoy AC Valhalla. But once I found out that, oh, you had to do like hundreds of, like, maybe like that's kind of like overkill, but maybe you have to do like 20 raids just to upgrade your settlement, and like you had to collect all the gold points around the map just to upgrade your gear. So I found that really tedious, and like Ubisoft is really notorious for like doing like so much side objectives that it is optional, but if you want to upgrade yourself, like it's kind of like you're forced into doing those things.
Yeah, let me
I
tell
mean,
you. I was
like she
playing
was
through
red.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. But then as I continued to play through it, I was just like, when will it end? I feel like I'm just here. I'm stuck here. And it's just never ending. It's continuous. And I was like, there's other things I want to play right now. I don't want to focus on just this title. I really think they need to consider cutting back on the length of those Assassin's Creed games because I think it's getting out of hand. It's part of the reason I had an issue with Assassin's Creed Origins. It lasted far too long, and there was a ton of fake endings. They were just like, "Oh, here, it's over. No, it's not actually over. Let's keep going." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So by the time I was done with the title, I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a lot of fatigue about this."
I'm not gonna comment too much on the Ubisoft thing, but I just wanted to. I have a lot to speak about. But I just wanted to say thank you, Krow. I have prior engagements I need to attend to, so thank you guys
Oh,
for
okay.
everybody for having me. So sorry, guys. I appreciate it.
That's
I
cool.
hopefully that the next podcast I'll be able to stay for longer. Yeah, thank you, Krow. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you guys later.
See you later,
All right,
buddy.
appreciate it,
later, bro.
man. Yeah. Stay safe and take care.
But
All right.
yeah, like for me, like I agree with Luca on this one. Like, oh my god, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla kind of thing. Bro, it was all cool. It started off all cool, like you play as a little kid and you're just going around and stuff like that. Then bam, you turn into an adult. You get to choose between a woman and a girl. I mean, sorry, woman and a man, and you get to like go around and stuff. And bro, like at first I was I was in awe, just like this looks awesome, especially playing it on my PC and playing it like with full ultra high settings without any issues. I was there like they actually did quite a good job about it. But then afterwards, like as I carried on playing it and slowly started to you know progress through the thing, I'm like, are you shitting me that I only discovered like 0.5% of this game, and it's just like I'm still here. I felt like I did more than this. What the hell is going on? It's just it got.
It's
I just
awful,
got
dude.
tired.
It's
It
awful.
was
I
it
hate
was
it.
just awful. I mean, like they need to cut down on all these little objectives, like a drinking game. Was it really necessary? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that at this point, developers are just scared to, except for Capcom clearly, but developers are scared to just have a game where it's focused on the main story and that's it. I'd rather have just a main story than
Mhm.
all of these lame side quests. Go pick up the crow on the other side of the map. I'm not chasing you, big dog. It's just not happening, man. I can't do it anymore. So
Yeah,
at,
yeah, yeah.
like at this point, as I start to grow a little bit older,
Mhm.
my bones becoming a little bit weary and weak. I don't have the mental fortitude to deal with
Yeah.
nonsense anymore in my games. I can't do it, man.
Exactly. I feel the same thing. Like it was all cool to begin off with, but later on, I'm like, get me out. Like my mind's just frying at this point. Like, I just want to get distracted. Like, you know how sad it's gone to the point. Like every time I play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like halfway through, I switch to Pokemon Go on my phone just to see what
Wow.
Pokemon is there to catch.
Wow, really, bro? Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
I
Pokemon
I
Go
give
is
up on
better.
it, dude.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so moving on here, we're gonna be talking about Returnal. And so, for the most part of 2021, like it's been a dry period for PS5 owners. And they were hoping that this
I
would
do.
be and yeah, so they were hoping that this would be, the big game for them. And so, I'm gonna pass this on to Luca here. And so what were your impressions of this game?
So my buddy gifted me the game. I wasn't necessarily sure if I was going to pick it up. I don't play bullet storms, bullet hells. I don't know. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know what the genre is. I've never played a roguelike slash light. Well, I haven't played one in recent years. I'm sure I did when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this. Then I was a little bit concerned about the difficulty because it's one thing for me to play Souls games over and over and over again and like dominating them. Like that's not even a thing anymore. But this is just a completely different genre I've never experienced before. So I was very concerned about that. And let me tell you, I had a good reason to be because the game can be pretty brutal. And it's not because of the enemies, and it's not because of the environments, and it's definitely not because of the bosses are cake, right? It has to do with the fact that since it's a roguelike, you lose everything. So it's like you
Mm,
can't make any mistakes. You got one shot to get to the boss, and God forbid you get hit on accident by some enemy. Now, I do think it's fair overall, like the map is very very clear, where everything is. And it's also very easy to find your way through everything. The waypoints are very nicely highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
It also shows you where the enemies are on the map. So as long as you're paying attention, you're good. But like I said before, if you get hit, it's 50-50 on like whether or not you're actually going to find the healing items you need in time to get to the boss. You know what I mean? It's also you may not have enough money in order to buy items you need to fight the boss in case you die or something like that. Like there's several options the game gives you to get an extra life, but it's whether or
mm.
not it will spawn. That's the question. So for me, like I really struggled with the game, especially in biome 3. There's 6 biomes, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
biome 3 was like the make or break moment for a lot of people. I died so many times and I was mad. I was mad. I was cursing. People were like, "Luca, you should no. Absolutely not. There's just no I'm not streaming my L for everyone to see, dude." So,
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
last Saturday I tried again and I failed and I was just like, "You know what? Maybe I'll just quit maybe I'll quit gaming. Maybe I'm just not a gamer." I'm like, "I can't believe I'm really this trash. Like this is baffling. This is ridiculous." I was like real mad and upset and I was just like, maybe I'll just leave the community. I was just being dramatic. Anyway, the next day I played through and I beat biome 3 and 4. And then the day after that, I beat biome 5 and got all the way to the boss for 6. And then the day
Nice.
after that, I beat 6. So like after Biome 3, broke my soul, like snatched it, I was a husk. I was a soulless husk as I went through the rest of the game. So I was just kind of like, whatever. And I was actually able to do very well. I let's see here. It took me what 2 times to get through Biome 4, 1 time for 5, and then twice for 6. And I know a lot of people were saying 4 and 5 and 6 were rough. I was just like, nah, this is cake, man. This is gravy compared to 3. All right. So I finished it. What was it, last night? I think I don't know. I posted on Twitter, dude. But I finished the game. I was like, I'm done. I'm finished. People are like, Luca, are you gonna go for the secret ending? I'm like, I think not. I absolutely not. Like, dude, like it's just not happening because since it's RNG based. A lot of the stuff you gotta go get collectibles. The collectibles are gonna spawn. You don't. I saw my boy struggling trying to find stuff. I'm like, that's certainly not gonna be me, big dog. It's just not happening. So, the game's cool. The story doesn't make any sense. I kind of have an idea of what happened, but this is just my perception of the situation. Who knows what the true case is? But I think that's what they were aiming for. Is the game worth $70? No, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up. And actually, the content creators that I follow, like Kofi and and other content creators, they've been saying that this is a AAA experience, and they've had a really good time with this game, and they really do think it is worth the full price tag. But I definitely do agree with when you said that it's not worth $70, because for roguelites in particular, like they've been known to be $30 games. Like if you look at Hades, Splunky, Dead Cells, these are meant to be like $30 games. But the other side of the coin is that this is a new IP, right? And because this is a new IP and this is a AAA roguelike, this is the first of its kind, basically. So the other argument could be that, this is worth 70 because it is, a new IP and things like that. And with that being said, so do you agree with that? With that
No, I don't,
assessment, or you
because
still think it's not worth it?
okay, so the value of everything is based on the person, right? So it's like some people would be willing to spend more than others for the same thing. Now, me personally, I just don't think the game is worth 70 because it's extremely repetitive. And I know all games are repetitive, but this is like extremely repetitive, It's very simple once you get the mechanics down. And I think that outside of the graphics, the gameplay is basic as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. Basic doesn't mean bad. It just means that for me, I don't think the game is worth 70, maybe 50, And I also want to say that making it $70, given its genre and also the fact that it's a new IP, was a huge risk for them because people aren't going to drop that kind of cash on something if they're not sure that they're going to like it. Now, it's dead right now, and there's nothing to play. So I feel like maybe the game sold a little bit better based solely off that. We're all bored, so we're like, yeah, we'll just give it a shot. But outside of that, I really don't think that this game is worth the full price. Now, at the end of the day, that's just my opinion. The game's priced at 70. There's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't really matter what I think. Doesn't matter.
Speaking of the previous podcast and even now, Krow already knows, and most of the people over there who's been watching the podcast already know my standpoint on it. Is like, if a game gives me something to look forward to and it challenges me, I don't mind spending it, but you have to bear in mind that I can't just drop $70 on a game instantly and be like, hey man, I'm gonna get it. Like I completely agree on Luca's point of view. Is like it all depends on person base, like personal matters count in this a lot, right? And it's like there's no chance, like especially if it's a game like, for example, the way Luca was explaining regarding this game is like it's something that I would never touch. This is a game that I would never touch, especially just by hearing it off of people, like how hard the game is. Yeah, no thanks. I'm playing a game to have a good time. I'm not playing a game to sit there and just break my head and cry in misery, sitting in the corner, rocking around, like going, "Get me out, get me out!" Like, no, I'm not gonna be doing that. Like, I have enough of games that actually make me do that kind of shit. But another one added to that list, no. And I paid $70. Yeah, no, thank you, no, thank you. Hell no.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, carry on, carry on.
yeah, I really do think this does deserve the Miles Morales treatment. You know how Insomniac, they purposely, priced it at like $50 because they realized that the scope of the game is not at the same level as Spider-Man 2018. So, for this game, I do think, $50 is a much more fair price tag. But I think what House Marquee is capitalizing on is the fact that this is a Sony exclusive, and with the fact that they are using the DualSense special features, they're using the haptic triggers and the haptic feedback, and so what are your thoughts on this, Luca? Like, are they using the haptic? Are they using the haptic controller features for this game? Like
Really, I don't know. I might have turned them off. If you turn them off for one game, are they off for all of them? I don't know, dude. I didn't really noticed, to be honest. I mean, the controller feels awesome. But I guess I just have been so focused on not dying or not getting hit that I haven't been paying attention to the controller and how it feels. I mean, it's awesome. Like I said, the game's I like it a lot. Game's great. Oh, and especially with the bugs. I just want to throw that out there with the bugs and the crashes people were having. They
Yeah.
they I don't know, that price point, big dog. People were claiming that the extra $10 was going to help with quality. Where's the quality when the game is crashing and people are losing their saves, man? What's going on? Like, that was
Oh,
definitely a
really?
big cap. Yeah. Like
Okay.
someone I know, he lost his save file. He got corrupted. I'd be like, bro, the fit I would be throwing. I'd be so angry. And I know that happened to a couple of other people too, because the official Twitter highlighted it. They were like, "Yo, this guy lost all of his data, but he ran through the game again." No, I don't want to hear it, man. I'm not trying to hear it when you're buggy game, big dog. Like, it's not as bad as other releases that have come out lately, in my opinion, because the scale is a lot smaller, given the fact that it's only on PlayStation 5, and it's a very, very, very niche genre. But I just think that it feels great in the hand. It looks great. It looks beautiful. I love the environments. I listen, even though the story doesn't make any sense, I like it. I think Celine is absolutely insane. To put it in a nicer sort of way, I definitely think that she's dealing with some major mental health issues and she's losing her fucking mind, dude. She's losing it. She's losing control, which is very interesting. I'm just going through the game. I'm listening to her. I want to peel back. I want to peel back my skin and look inside myself. I'm like, what? I'm like, Queen, can you I need you to stop, right? She's all like, I am the chosen one. Only I am worthy. And I'm like, all right, you've been on this planet for far too long. So overall, it was a good experience, minus the crashes and the bugs and the trauma of Biome 3. And I'm happy I beat it. Mostly so I can just be like, yeah, I beat this game that's known for its difficulty. It's known that people quit out. People put 30 plus hours in it and were just like, I can't do it, and gave up on the game, or people are still in Biome 1, which is perfectly fine, take your time and whatever, right? But it's just like, I'm just happy I was able to beat it, because people do look at me and like, well, aren't you you're the Souls person, so you should be. I don't want to hear it, but I was able to beat it, and that's what matters. Because also I can talk about the game and I can be like, the game's not worth $50. Oh, I also beat it, so leave it alone, and people are less likely to bother me about my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Joker, have you played roguelites before? And so what has been your most challenging roguelike if you've played roguelites?
So I never played roguelites at all. Like, this is the first time I actually come across any kind of a thing because Returnal had such a hype, right? So I never really like. If you had to say roguelike, like give me an example. What is a game that's called roguelite, right?
Hades?
Before Hades? Okay.
Yeah, so
I,
for me, like the first game that introduced me to roguelikes was actually Splunky. And so back in the day, like Splunky used to be a 16-bit game, and it had a very interesting concept. How like you're like a explorer, and you have to travel the mines, and you have like different.
so so
Sorry,
basically, roguelite. Yeah, yeah. Carry on, Sorry.
yeah. So you have different biomes to get into. So you have like the forest. Like you start off with I think it's like the caves, and then you go into the forest, and then you have the ice biome, and there's also like a temple biome in there as well. So, I really like the concept, and like you have to like be careful with the bombs and ropes. You have like a certain amount of bombs and ropes you can use per level, and I thought that was a very interesting concept.
So yeah, like for me, yeah, I never really played any kind of thing like that. But speaking of which, but it sounds to me like it's kind of like Souls game, right? So I'm a big Souls game kind of person. So I played from Dark Souls 1, 2, 3 to Bloodborne and Sekiro, and I got it all platinumed, right? So I'm a big Souls kind of person. If it's kind of like Souls kind of a thing, all right, I can
It's not.
probably give it a
It's not, bro.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Okay.
it's not in the same
It's not.
category because like if you wanted to talk about Souls, like I would put that in the Metroidvania type of category. It's
Okay.
not really, like a roguelike. And
Mhm.
like so for me, I think the hardest roguelike and it is on PC, it's called the Binding of Isaac. And like that game has so much DLCs at this point, it's ridiculous. Like if you wanted to get the whole bundle, it's about $50 right now. And like, some of the mini bosses in that game is just ridiculous. Like it's just really
Like
crazy.
that sounds cool. You get the game and the full DLC for $50. Like that sounds about a good, nice game package, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like for me, this kind of genre is completely brand new to me. Like roguelite. Like I'm not that much of. Is it based off of a shooter? If you call it that way,
Bullet hell.
bullet hell.
So yeah. So
Well,
I
for Returnal,
I
it's like an action bullet hell roguelike. That's how you
Yeah.
like phrase it.
So it's like if you die, you die basically.
yeah, you lose everything pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, no, that's not the thing. Like if I, I don't think I'll be enjoying that thoroughly. Like the whole concept,
Honestly,
the whole concept itself, like kind of, yeah, get me
yeah,
out.
like people think, I'm sure you already know since you're a Souls guy,
Mhm.
like everyone is automatically as soon as something slightly difficult comes out, it's like Dark Souls. It's
Yeah,
as soon as something slightly difficult comes out, people automatically compare it to Dark Souls. I'm like, I need y'all to stop doing that. This is completely different in comparison. You know, just because
Dark,
you beat Dark Souls doesn't automatically mean you're gonna like this.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like a lot of people, like because I was a big Dark Souls kind of a, you know, dickhead or idiot, as I put it. So, like I enjoyed Dark Souls, but don't get me wrong, I really got annoyed with certain things about Dark Souls too. And at the same time, when I was playing Bloodborne or Sekiro Shadow Die Twice or whatever it is, like a lot of people seem to have this misconception of just comparing that game to the game that they played before and be like, hey, what do you think about this game? You're a big Dark Souls kind of guy. I was like, yeah, I'm a big Dark Souls kind of guy, but it doesn't mean that this is going to offer me the same experience as what Dark Souls give. I bought a game, it's a different IP. Like, I want to know how this game feels like. Yes, it could be in the same genre, or a similar genre to that fact, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to enjoy this game. Like for all I know, I could freaking hate it. Like I really hated Bloodborne because I just was so competitive in just beating that game. Do you know what I mean? Like I was just really wanted to finish that game. I just wanted to beat it. That's all my intention was, to play that game. And I just wanted to get that platinum because it was at like 0.05% rarity to have that platinum at that time. So I was there like, yeah, I want to get
It's
hold of that.
because the chalice dungeons are trash, bro. You couldn't pay me to go in there. People keep asking, Luca, you gonna go get the platinum? I'm like, no, I don't like the chalice dungeons. They're garbage.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Like even Sekiro was supposed to be meant to be challenging and everything like that. Like low key, that was a lot easier than playing Bloodborne. Not gonna lie to you. Like
I definitely had an easier time with Sekiro than
mhm,
I did with, say, like Dark Souls 3, you know?
mhm,
I didn't really struggle all that much with Bloodborne. Bloodborne was like my first one, and I just
mhm.
took it real slow, you know? But
Yeah,
Dark Souls
yeah,
3 was really difficult for me. Dark Souls 1,
like
Lost
I
Izalith, Tomb of the Giants? Okay, the Bed of Chaos? You mean the worst parts of the game? I almost quit the game multiple times because of those sections. Sekiro
like
never had a section like that where I was like, I feel like quitting this game.
true, and that's the thing. Like for me, I started off with Dark Souls 1, then went to 2, then went to 3, then playing Bloodborne, and then playing Sekiro. So it was just like, yeah, I can see a lot of flaws. Like Sekiro, it just felt like it was a piece of cake, really. Just sitting there, and I was there like, all right, bet this is what the boss is gonna do. Okay, this is the next move that he's gonna do. As soon as I see that little cue call saying that this is the move that's gonna happen, like bet I know exactly what I need to do to counter that, or deflect it, or just run forward and just dodge and attack. Do you know what I mean? So whereas Dark
Very, very, very pattern based. I mean, I know this Dark Souls franchise is as well, but there's like an added layer with Sekiro where it's like once you learn the boss's patterns,
Mhm.
you're gravy, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I was annoyed with the most because of the friggin' camera each situation that I was having. Like, I swear to God.
Like your
Like,
camera going into Dark Beast Parl and just
oh
being
my
stuck
God. Like, it just
ice
spins.
particles.
Like, the coding of that camera was so bad. I was like, how are people actually playing this game? Like, but eventually I got used to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I should not be able to get used to this. I should have a smoother experience, but I got used to it. Like, this is not cool, man. I did not pay to get used to something that's broken. And especially like one thing I hate about like Dark Souls kind of games, like when you have to throw stuff, why does it have to arc? Why can't it just throw? Like if I throw it, why don't you just go straight and hit that guy? Why do you have to arc? Like that irritates me. And yeah, I get it. Like they want to add a little bit of realism and everything, but the whole game is not realistic. So why add a realism to that? So it's just
Yeah.
one of those things. But bullet hole like sounds dangerous as hell. Like yeah, give me bullet hell. I don't know why I said bullet hole, but bullet hell roguelites. No, Returnal. I think I'll skip this one.
Test. Okay, yeah. And for me, actually, I haven't actually beaten a single a single Souls game. I guess I didn't have too much patience. But I did hear, was Dark Souls 1 the easiest, or which one would you say was the easiest?
Dude, it really depends on the person. It
Yeah,
really depends on the
yeah.
person.
Like for me, I found Dark Souls 2 a lot easier than Dark Souls 1 and 3.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, I would agree with that. Dark Souls 2's I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I was dead inside by the time I got to Dark Souls 2 because I
This
played
is
the
exactly.
games like in succession, right? So I did Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark
Mhm.
Souls, and Dark Souls 2 all within like 8 months, you know? So by
Wow.
the time I got to Dark Souls
Dedication.
2, I was like, is this game bad or am I just tired? I don't know. Like I just don't know. Like, I wasn't sure. So I think it really depends on the person. I definitely think Dark Souls 2 is a lot easier, but I'm thinking
Oh,
back on
okay.
it. I don't know how I would do if I were to like jump into it now. You know what I mean? But
Like for me, like after like I went into this succession of playing Dark Souls, then I was like, at first I liked the concept and everything, but because I beat the game and there was Dark Souls 2 coming out, like Okay, so I was challenging. The first game was challenging. Let me see what Dark Souls 2 was. I kid you not, I beat the game in less than a month.
Yeah.
I beat the game in less than a month. Like it was not that challenging at all. Like I don't know, it's maybe because like I was so annoyed with certain issues that was in Dark Souls 1 that I got so used to that game that Dark Souls 2 became so easier and my mind just went into this mode of let me just go and kill everyone. Let me just just try.
I can't really remember all that much. I remember that one area that was green and
Hmm.
black and like radioactive. And then
Yeah,
like I said,
I know which one you're talking
I've considered going back to Dark Souls 2, fresh,
about.
to see
With the
how I
whole
like
new
the game.
take.
Yeah, but I don't know. That game, nothing about it really stands out to me positively. It had the most bosses, but all the bosses were trash. They're all garbage. And
like
I go ahead.
like when you said bosses, right? Like the one thing I look at it is like, yeah, if I personally, me, like I'm not that much of a great gamer, right? But if I can beat Dark Souls 2 in less than a month, yeah, literally this game doesn't have any kind of a comeback to say that this is better than um let's just say Bloodborne or Sekiro or anything like that, right? So it took me a good, I'll honestly tell you, trying to beat Sekiro, it took me about a good 3.5 months, right? That's because I
Wow.
was going, that's because I was going on and off. And there were certain mistakes that I was doing. And there was a lot of things that was involved in real life stuff too. But if I had to take away all those things, it would have still taken me 2 months to complete Sekiro, right? And that's me playing constantly. So, but yeah, so I can totally get you on that kind of experience.
All right, I'm
All
actually
right.
trying to figure out when I started Sekiro. I beat it on January 28th, 2021. I'm just going back to when I said I first started it. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
Yeah, so back to the Returnal topic. So, it looks like there is pretty strong sales for the game, and so we do have numbers here from PlayStation Blog, and so they did share a breakdown, and so we do have the top 3 games of the month of April, and so these are PSN downloads, by the way. And
Okay.
so at number 1 we have MLB The Show 2021. Number 2 we have Outriders, and so number 3 is Returnal.
Okay.
And so it looks like it is doing pretty well there. And so we also do have the UK sales charts, and actually, Pokemon Snap did beat Returnal, but they are
Yeah.
number 2 in the sales of the overall, the physical sales.
But yeah, like MLB The Show 2021, of course, it's a different take. Again, it's different environment. We're so bored of games recently that we are willing to try games that's out of our own comfort zone, right? So what was it? I started playing Pokemon Sword and Shield on a Nintendo Switch emulator. So I've been playing that for a while now because I was that bored of any other games. Like, hey man, let me play Pokemon. Fuck it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so Outriders and Returnal. Outriders, yes. Again, you gotta understand the difficult time period that we're living on. So cooperation, like everywhere. Like you want to play with your friends, you want to play with your homies.
Yeah.
Outriders is there. And it's a new game, it's a new take on things. It's not the same thing as like playing Destiny, Warframe, and other co-op games. So it's a new take. So of course people will be more inclined towards it, to buy it, to try it out, play with their friends, and give it much more of a different take on all the games that I just mentioned. And Returnal, that's again, it's very different, different genre, different take on things, and people are like, hey, and it's just something to have like a flexing mode, right? Like, yeah, I beat Returnal, let's go, because it's one of the hardest games. So that's just like, hey man, I'm good at get good kind of game. so,
Yeah,
yeah,
and so shout out to my guy DQ in the chat, and he says that new Pokemon Snap is a chill game. And
Yo,
yeah,
definitely.
I actually made a video about this, how the success of Pokemon Snap, and like I also have like a clip of me memeing the game. But I was downplaying the game, but honestly, like I really do think the sales of Pokemon Snap is kind of like similar to the Animal Crossing situation. How like more and more people are like gravitating towards gaming, and I think they like the chill experiences, right? So
It,
that's why Animal Crossing did so well.
so you got to understand, like Pokemon Snap is catering to everyone's how do you
Like the
call it?
Pokemon nostalgia and
Target
like
audience.
yeah.
Target audience, right? So it's catering to the adults, the teenagers, young adults, teenagers, kids. So it's catering to everyone, and especially if you're going around, like for example, let's just say you're sitting at home and you just don't want to do a lot of things, but you just want to kind of explore at the same time. It gives you those little challenges like get a picture of this Pokemon while he's facing towards you in this particular angle, and it'll give you a reward for that. A lot of people enjoy low key just playing chill games. Not gonna lie to you. Like I like sitting there and just like a lot of people, like many people, when I play Pokemon Go, I'm sitting there like I'm a collector. Like there are many how do you call it, categories within the game. Like if you're a raider, collector, battle, like person, everything like that. So I'm just a collector. Like I just look at my Pokemon Go just to see what I can collect for today. You know what I mean? So that's it. Nothing else. So Pokemon Snap, I can see why it's actually making a very good thing, bro. Like, why not? Just like a virtual environment. Like you're imagine. Can you remember those virtual pets that you used to get back in the day? It's the small little keychain. I don't know what it was
Oh,
called.
oh, you mean
You know,
you mean the Tamagotchi?
Tamagotchi. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
I
Yeah.
remember there was like
So
a Digimon one too as well, right? Like the
yeah, exactly. I
Digimon.
used to have one of them when I was a kid, right? I used to have one of them. I was there like, hey man, this is cool. Like I have my own little virtual pet, So imagine having that in a bigger scale, but also you get to see kind of like a zoo experience, right? So
Yeah, yeah, definitely feel that. Yeah. All right, so moving on here. So we will be talking about the sales numbers for Sony, and so they did reveal the Sony earnings report, and and with these earnings report, it does say that so far Sony has sold 7.8 million consoles, and earlier this month, NPD did say that the PS5 was the fastest selling console in US history during its first 5 months of availability, both in terms of units moved and total dollars spent. And so I really do think that this is due to the fact that a lot of people were hyped for next gen, and ever since the start of the pandemic, like we did see a huge increase, like a huge boon in the gaming market. More and more people are gravitating towards gaming as the number one source of entertainment. So I do think that plays a role in that. And so let me ask you this question, but before I do ask it, I'm just gonna give a little bit of context. And so given the fact that many people have been eager and excited for next gen and their features, we seen like a lot of YouTube content creators, they were hyping up Astrobot, and like how the PlayStation 5 controller, it had the haptic feedback, and we also learned about the haptic triggers as well. And also, given the fact that everybody's going to great lengths to get a PS5, people are willing to spend, over $1,000 just to get a PS5. And I gotta ask you guys this question, like, what percentage or how many of these consoles sold were taken up by the scalpers?
seventy
Probably a lot
percent.
of them.
70.
I would say
Yo.
70%. No, like
Wow.
you
Okay.
can't sit there and tell me, right? That of course it's gonna have the fastest selling, especially if they got bots, like the scalpers got
Hmm.
bots set up.
Yeah, bots are
Immediately,
ridiculous. Yeah.
immediately that goes on the market, these bots are going to buy it, right? And then you got scalpers too, who'll just sit there and be like, if they really have no life, they'll be sitting there and they'll be looking through the whole entire thing. They probably have a group of like 10, 15 people just scouring the sites that they know and keep hitting that refresh button until they can get hold of like a console, right? So some of them actually make a legit business out of this, right? And that's because I have seen it firsthand in UK itself. Like over here, there was a scalper ring that actually
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I heard about that.
there was a scalper ring that actually got busted recently because they had around 10 or 15 bots, right, set up to automatically scoop up a PS5 as soon as it goes on the market, along with NVIDIA 3090, along with the new Xbox consoles and things like that, right? So that's why, of course, I'm not surprised, not a least bit surprised that PS5 was the fastest selling. Of course it was. There's no denying that. That's mainly, but most of the contribution came from 70% from the scalpers, right? 70%.
You know, I think that's a little bit too extreme. You know, I think it may be
I wouldn't say
it may be like
like
40%. Like I don't think 70
yeah,
is too that's a little bit too extreme there.
like I honestly kid you not, right? For my personal take on it is like being in England, being in UK, there's just coming across a lot of things. Bro, I know the most few of the richest people that I have actually encountered. I mean, when I say rich, as in like these guys will throw money at anything that comes at him if they really want it. And one of them being my good mate, and he turned around and is like, I would low key pay £2,500 for a PS5.
Damn.
Right?
Wow.
This is what it said. So that convert roughly converts up to like $3,000. Right?
Couldn't be me, dude. There's just no way. First of all,
That's
scalping
ridiculous.
is like disgusting. People who scalp, especially during a global panorama, it's like
Exactly.
the worst, man. So me personally, I'm not giving scalpers extra money, dude. It's just never gonna happen. Also,
Yep.
like there's games to play on the PlayStation 5, but none of them are worth spending extra money on it. Like
Like
there's Miles Morales, which is on the PlayStation 4. There's a remaster of Spider-Man. There's Demon Souls, which is an extremely niche title. There's Returnal, which is extremely niche title. There's nothing right now that would warrant spending that kind of money on the PlayStation 5, even if it's your main platform. Like, don't get me wrong, I have the PlayStation 5. I got the Xbox Series X. I got a gaming PC, man. I got my Switch, and I love my systems. But I got my Xbox so I can play Destiny at 60 frames, man. I got my
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 because I was like, I want to play Demon Souls, which I did. I got the plat for that game. You know what I mean? But it's like I bought these consoles at retail. If I had to pay extra, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'll wait. I'll wait however long it takes to get the system. I'm not desperate, you know?
Yeah. So that's the thing, though. So I turned around and told my homie, like, listen, first of all, people like you, like straight up, I turned around and pointed at him in his face and said, people like you are making it difficult for everyone else. Right? Especially because you don't mind spending this kind of money. So what happens is it encourages other scalpers to do the same thing. And what's happening is at this point of time, a lot of people are just going to hold on all these consoles and they're just waiting to make the money back or even make a little bit of profit. So they will just do whatever is needed. And you're the kind of people that actually fuel this kind of nonsense, right? So I turned around and said, listen, legit, eventually people are going to be tired of waiting around and they're just not going to bother anymore. Right. So during this point, all the people will get tired of hoarding all these PlayStation consoles in their house and they will start selling it. Right. Eventually, it's going to come on the market. Right. It might take 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years, maybe longer. We all don't know that. Right.
So actually on that note, Joker, you know, we actually do have a report here, and I did read this off of IGN. And so we do have a report here from Bloomberg, and they did, reportedly ask a group of analysts that was into this Sony supply situation, and they actually said that the reported shortages will continue on towards the end of 2022. So it's definitely rough out there, and with this report, do you think that more and more people would be inclined to pay the scalper price, or like
See,
what do you think about that?
it's basically it's like a rich man's toy at the minute, right? So imagine a bunch of rich ass bastards just sitting there chilling and be like, "Hey man, I got a BMW, the latest BMW M series car, or whatever it is, right?" And you're that one homie, right, who is broke but too scared to tell them that they are broke because they know they're gonna make fun of you, right? So what happens is the kind of like a peer pressure gets to him, and he will end up paying this kind of shit. So yeah, man. So I definitely don't support paying way more than a retail price for a product or a device than what is supposed to be sold. And I don't mind paying a small little odd differences, like maybe £10 extra or £20 extra if I have to get it, right?
They're not gonna
That's all.
they're gonna do that. Like, if I was them, like I think 200 is reasonable, like 200 upkeep, or like 200
Yeah,
like
see,
200 or 300 would be fine, if I was them.
see,
But
the thing is, like, you gotta understand, like, look at it this way, as a household, right? Now you have a household and you have two kids, for example, right? And these two kids have some kind of mental disability or any kind of a thing, and they are low-key wanting to, because the kid probably asked for a PlayStation 5 because they want to get hold of it and stuff like that. And how heartbreaking is it going to be to tell that child, because that's the only thing the child can ever concentrate on, like this is his own world kind of a space, this is where he finds his happiness. Right now, you go and look on the net and you see all the thing, bro, you're going to put up all your life savings just to make your son or your daughter happy, because this is the only thing that they find some kind of a joy in it, like, joy or whatever it is
They need
that
to
they
get
get
some
from.
new hobbies, tell them
Yeah.
to get some new hobbies.
No. But I mean, it's difficult to explaining to a child who's got like these mental disabilities or any kind of like learning difficulties, right? To say get a new hobby because this is what they have been used to or exposed to, right? And they come across this kind of a thing, and you just turn around. Like, I sympathize with those kind of people, right? Because mainly being like, I used to work in healthcare, and I know how difficult it is. Like a kid who's got autism and stuff like that, and if he wants to get hold of it, like, how difficult it is to handle that child. It's fucking horrible.
Understandable, but that situation probably
Mhm.
isn't all that common. That's a very
Yeah,
specific, those
yeah,
are
yeah,
very specific instances.
yeah. It is very specific instances, but what happens is, like, now they will go beyond. Like, it's just like the parents will be like, okay, I can probably spend about like I don't know, a few £100 or something like that, plus the game or anything, just to keep them, in this sane world kind of a situation. And these scalpers are going beyond their way to profit, doubling the prices. Like, for example, PlayStation 5, our retail price over here was £450, right? That's what the retail price was. That includes a controller, game, whatever it is, a bundle that comes with it. When I looked for it, at that time, it was all out of stock because, again, I couldn't get hold of anything. And then afterwards, I come across one of these Facebook pages, right? And this guy was selling it for like £1,700, £1,800. I'm like, yeah, that's triple what the friggin' retail price is saying. Like I said, I don't mind paying £20, £30 up to £100 maximum, but I wouldn't pay £200, bro, like extra. There's no chance, because it's just gonna give more encouragement to other scalpers to keep doing the same thing. Is they like, oh, did you hear? He just made a profit out of that. If he can sell it for that, I can probably sell for another £200, and that's what happened right now. You know what I mean? Especially when you put it like eBay is the biggest culprit because they have a bidding system, and a guy puts up the PS5, and that's where the whole scalping situation started. The guy put up the PS5, bidding started, bidding ended at 1,800 or £1,850, right? And bam, all the scalpers saw this profit margin. Like, bro, if we can get hold of this, we can make our money. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just personally, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I wouldn't be able to buy it, and I wouldn't be able to scalp systems, or anything like that. It's just not. It's not something that I personally can ever comprehend doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me, actually, very lucky in a sense that I was able to actually get a RTX 3070 card, and the only reason was because I was I was a part of this Discord group, and they usually ping when the latest drop happens, and man, I was blessed honestly when I got the 3070 because I know a lot of people out there are like still struggling to get a RTX 30 series card. And so yeah, I'm very lucky in that regard.
Yeah, see, I wanted to get hold of the 3090 card, but good luck. I can't get hold of that shit for nothing. I can't even get hold of a goddamn PS5. Why am I sitting there looking for a 390, like 3090? Like, yeah, no chance. That's never gonna happen for me. Not for at least another good 2 or 3 years, by the looks of this pace. And plus, also, like, even if you do get a PS5, apart from those two niche titles which Luca was saying, what was it? Demon Souls and Returnals. Like, all right, cool. You get to play Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Cool. That's we all know. But you only have a few titles at this point. Enjoy the crap out of PS4 until its last legs, and then start looking for a PS5. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
I mean,
No, I'm definitely with you on that.
it is tempting, with you have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart coming out soon, and you also have the new God of War game coming out, and
Okay,
Yeah,
also with
who
so
knows when that's coming out? It's not coming out this year though. So
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like, look at when the release dates are, right?
oh
Let
yeah,
me know when God of War is coming out, then I'll start looking for a PS5. But again,
probably
I'm not.
I think it will be 2022 at that point, and
all they
also
showed
Yeah,
us was they pulled a Metroid, bro, and they just showed us a screenshot. So it's like, and then
yeah, that's
especially
true.
everything going on with the global panorama, like who knows actually getting that game, dude.
yeah, exactly. And second thing is like, a lot of people have been waiting again. Like Luca made a very good point. Like, who knows who's gonna get that game? For all you do, scalpers will probably get hold of this God of War game, and then just bam, for a £70 game, the only way you can probably buy is digital. Digital buyout. But I don't see it having like a physical disc anyway because somebody's gonna freaking scalp the crap out of them. You know what I mean? But again, it's just when look at when 2020 is God of War is going to get released, and really, when was the last time you actually sat down and played Ratchet and Clank completely? Be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's personally, I'm not interested in that game. So
Exactly.
like for me, like I said, I love Demon Souls and I enjoyed Returnal. So I'm happy with my purchase of my PlayStation 5. But as I
Mm.
stated before, I played retail, big dog. If I had to pay extra, it just would not have happened. Like it's mostly a pride thing, you know? Like my pride would not allow me to contribute to the scalping issue.
Yeah, like legit, like thingy. What's his name? I'm looking at DQ Blizzard on the chat, right? He makes a very good point. PS Now is available. PlayStation can boost market sales on PS Now, especially for people if they want to play certain titles, right? And this is a perfectly good timing for them to actually boost revenue on PlayStation Now and actually implement more things on there. And
Mm.
do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a good
Like, look
point.
at
Yeah.
look at how, like, this pandemic period is where they should have capitalized on this point and be like, hey man, since a lot of people can't go outside, since you have to buy things and everything like that, PlayStation now low-key would have, would have gained some kind of traction for streaming services. At least definitely would have beaten Google Stadia in many ways, not gonna lie. Because Google Stadia is doo-doo.
Yeah, I've
Right.
heard a lot of bad things right now. Like, yeah, like more and more execs are leaving Stadia right now, so it's a very bad look on Stadia. It's gonna be a wrap soon for Stadia, to be honest.
To be honest, I think that was a wrap after the
Yeah,
6 months.
after Jade Raymond left Stadia, like that was the biggest blow, and like
Man, it
everyone
was a wrap
followed.
as soon as they announced it.
Sorry, say that
It was a
again.
wrap as soon as they announced it, bro.
Oh yeah, like
I mean,
the
like,
the
I
whole
mean, some
concept
people
was
like
great.
Stadia, so I don't know. I mean,
Like, of course, some people are gonna like Stadia for people who do not have a devices like us, for example.
yeah,
Like
that's the biggest
we have
appeal.
a
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a PC that can run graphics at a high level pace, right? We have super fast internet connectivity, right? And we have devices that can actually hold their contents together without having to think. Of course, it's going to appeal to people who don't have these kind of devices. And instead of paying, what is it, 450 for PlayStation 5, they'll be like, hey man, I can get hold of this game for £10.99 and that's all I have to pay monthly, right? And I can just play the game right now. I don't even have to have a device. I just have to open up my Google Chrome in order to play this thing, right? That's the biggest appeal that will have to these kind of very specific people, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. So it's yeah. Hopefully the supply shortage, the supply issue for Sony, it does get better in 2022, and more and more people can get their hands on it in physical stores. So I'm gonna be moving on here to our next topic, and so actually,
Buddy,
Wyatt.
real quick, I do have to hang out with my mom soon, so I'm gonna have to get out of here in a little bit.
cool.
Oh, okay. All right. So you know what? I'm just gonna skip that topic. So, yeah. So we're gonna be moving on to our last topic here. So, and Luca did bring it up on her video. And so we have a tweet here from Mike Diver, and he does say that you don't need to be good at games to write about them or stream them or even make them. And his second point is that you don't need to finish a game to review it, to publish an opinion and score. Most of the time, we don't get the time. And so,
Yeah.
I did read a lot of interesting tweets about this, and I this and some people were saying that because critics they have a very time limited window, that they don't have enough time to finish the games for the review. So why not them instead of putting review in the title, and, instead of putting impressions in the title, they put review. And the reason is that is because they get more clicks that way. So that's definitely like somewhat frauding in a sense, if you think about like like a review, it's not really a review.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when they say review, I'm very skeptical when people who say call things review and stuff like that. Like, uh, I'm very like two-sided things about this, right? First being a lot of like exactly like what it says, like most of the thumbnails that comes across as a review, like I don't take it as a like serious thing because this man could, or for all I know, I can just click the video and I can just get a Rick Roll song playing into it and just some guy making fun of this game, right? And second thing is like they will probably play like the first 10-15 minutes of the game and they will just show the actual gameplay and they'll sit there and either they'll have very positive things to say about it or they will have very negative things to say about it. There is no balanced middle line. That's why I choose specific reviewers from YouTube if I have to buy a game or not. But also, again, it all depends on that particular person, how he feels about the game. Do you know what I mean? So it could be a completely different experience to me.
Yeah, and you also have to keep in mind, like, there are some titles that will do a complete 180 smack dab in the middle of it, or a couple hours in, for instance. Now, I didn't play The Last of Us 2. I don't have any feelings about it one way or another. But if you didn't get spoiled and you were only playing through the first, what, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of that game, and then you
Mm.
smacked a review on it, and then the thing that happened, you know? You would be completely misleading people who would go into it, you know what I mean? Or it's like you could be playing, like, take for me, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Origins up until the fake first ending, you know? And then I was just like, this is awful. And I ended up beating the game, but I was so soured by the experience that it put me off Assassin's Creed for like 2 years, you know? And if I had only played the first part of the game, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know any better, and I would have put a review out, not fully expanding on everything that happened. You need to beat a game in order to give it a review. Now, if these gaming journalists, if they don't want to do it, that's fine, but they need to stop complaining about how we don't respect them, because they don't have our respect. They haven't earned our respect. They pull this nonsense, and then they're like, respect me, where, support me, where, what? I'm like, dude, you don't even respect yourself. Like, what are you doing?
True. I completely agree with Luca on this point of view, especially when, like, for example, I know you read IGN, Krow. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there are some
Hey,
gaming.
I only read it sometimes, not like it's not my main source of critic that I go to.
Yeah, like also at the same time, like Kotaku, right? Those gaming journalists over there have zero knowledge on even how to pick up a freaking controller and see what X button does or square button does, right? Because they just probably watch a guy playing a game, right? And they're just probably sitting there going, okay, this looks interesting. It's like having a backseat gamer, right? Who just sits there because he wants to have some kind of a company, but at the same time watching you play a game and just keeps going in your ears like, why? For what reason though? I don't understand the story behind this though. Like, can you explain me more? Like, this is what I feel about gaming journalists, right? I don't respect them enough. Like, beat a game, play a game. Like, for example, if you look up on YouTube, there is a YouTube channel called Girlfriend Reviews, right?
Yeah.
Love that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
me
that
too, me
channel.
too.
Right? I love that channel. I actually sit there and enjoy, because what she does is she gives a second person perspective, and at the same time she actually is involved in it. Now that's a kind of gaming journalism that I could get into, right? But
Like, a lot
anyone
of it,
else? Yeah, sorry, go on.
no, I was just gonna say a lot of it is like, me personally, I'm just not a fan of the pretentious attitude of a lot of these games journals, you know? Like, they're
Yeah.
very, very condescending when they're talking to us, you know? Like, it's, listen, Colin Moriarty made a good point. If you don't want to be doing this job, if it's too hard, go do something else, man. I don't have any empathy for you. Like, it sucks, and I get it. You have deadlines to meet, but I some of the headlines I read and some of the articles I've read lately are just absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, people like, the games journalist from a week ago bringing up Republicans and Democrats when talking about Returnal.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Wow.
there's like absolutely nothing to do with the game, you know what I mean? So,
That's
I don't know, man.
sketch.
Like, I even though I don't personally vibe with Jason Schreier's personality quirks, I trust his reporting because he backs his stuff up, you know what I mean? But everyone else, it's really up and down on whether or not I'll believe them.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it just depends on that particular person, I guess. Like, most of these articles that I see on internet, I kind of just skip through them, right? I skip through them. I completely skip through them because A, I don't know how much. What are his credentials to say that?
That's a good
You
point.
know,
Yeah.
like what are his credentials to say that this game is? I have to take his word on it. Like if he played a game, let's say he made a review of a game. What credentials does he have? Has he completed the game? Has he physically touched a controller, or has he physically touched into a PC and played the game fully? I don't think so. They're probably in the office, and basically what happens is they probably picked up a lot of opinions from, like, they have, like, every industry has a gaming testers, right? So not every industry, sorry, gaming industry has game testers, right? So they probably have their own in-house game testers that they will actually probably sit there and start making notes down saying that they could have improved this better or anything like that. So what this game journalist will do is they will compile a list of all these opinions that they have taken from these different testers and be like, okay, let's make a review out of this. Let's actually, they're only good at writing, they're not good at anything else.
Yeah, and it's also the way I feel about people who hide their trophies or their achievements. Like, I need to know that you actually beat this game if you're saying you beat the game. You know what I mean? It's why I always, whenever I beat a game, I'll go ahead, here's the trophy or here's the achievo, so you know I beat this last boss. You know what I mean? So it's just
True.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of it's super sketchy. I personally, I've been saying this for years now, and it wasn't. I didn't have anything to do with gaming, but I used to watch reviews for movies, and
Oh,
I'd really go off what the reviewer for a movie would say about a film, you know? And then eventually it got to a point where I skipped out on a film. I watched it 2 years later, and I was like, oh, movie's amazing. And I was mad at myself for completely ignoring it because I listened to some reviewer. And ever since then, I've been like, yeah, man, unless I know for sure that this person has similar tastes to me, I'm just not going to listen to them. And I'll go off my own perspective when it comes to this stuff. And I think a
I
lot of people
agree.
need to take that in mind as well.
I
Yeah, and
completely agree.
yeah, I do agree with what Joker is saying. You do need to have your credentials, and also Ryan McCaffrey here, he does make a good point. And so so his tweet says that the way I look at it is movie critics don't watch half or even three-quarters of a film and then review it. They watch the whole thing. Same applies to games, except as you noted, in cases like sports games or other things that don't have definitive endings. And so, on that point, I do agree with that. And, it is a taste thing as well, because, like, for example, someone might say, they don't like Kong versus Godzilla. They think it's for kids. But, honestly, like, that's just a opinion. It's not
Yeah,
It,
like you
all
shouldn't
reviews
take
are
that as
opinions.
face
So.
value.
like my like exactly like a good example, King King Kong versus Godzilla. Kong
Oh,
versus
sorry,
Godzilla.
sorry. Oh, yeah, it's
It's just
Kong versus Godzilla. Yeah, that's the
Godzilla
title.
vs.
yeah,
King Kong? I don't remember what
What's
it's called.
the?
Kong
I forgot the
Kong
title.
versus
Sorry.
Godzilla. Kong versus Godzilla is just a brainless action movie. It's just a popcorn movie. You don't take anything from it apart from a small little storylines. If you really take it seriously and you will going in depth, like, yeah,
Oh,
no,
that story is real bad. Like they didn't put any they didn't put
exactly.
any work into that script, you know. But I
But
mean,
it makes
people
a
came
good
to see
popcorn.
monsters fight, so
Yeah, exactly. I went there. We were watching it because just wanted to see a big ass gorilla fight a giant ass lizard, and
Hmm.
that's all I wanted to see. Nothing else. I just wanted to see the
I
whole
definitely
experience.
delivered on that part, man. It's just really good action
It,
scenes, and yeah.
it was the same thing with Mortal Kombat, right? It was the same thing with Mortal Kombat. It's just a mindless action film. It was a popcorn movie, right? That's all it was. It's just like, bet you want to watch something interesting. Let's watch something cool. Cool. Let's watch it. Just like how the new Fast and Furious 9 movie is going to be coming out. That's going to be a completely brain dead popcorn movie, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, man.
All right, so yeah, so you guys have any other points on this?
Uh,
nothing more from me.
that's that. I made
Okay.
my point today.
All right, yeah, yeah, so this wraps up the show here, and so let's go on to our outros, and let's start with the Joker Gamer V3.
Thank you for having me. appreciate it being like I feel like I'm honored because you called me back in again for this is I think the third episode or the fourth episode now. So yeah, man, I'm honored. If you guys don't know me, I am a avid gamer, also a casual chill guy. I stream on Twitch every now and then. I have not been doing it recently because of work commitments, but I'm trying to get the stream schedule back up again. But yeah, thank you for having me, Krow.
All right, and I really do appreciate Luca stopping by, and I do appreciate that you were open and you wanted to come to the show, and
Man, I had a
so
great time.
all right, I appreciate it, and it's unfortunate that we didn't have that much people on, but it was definitely nice to talk to you.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks so much. It was nice meeting Deli and also Joker. It was
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too, Luca. Definitely, I'll pop around to see your podcast soon too.
Yeah, sounds good. You guys can follow me on Twitter at TheAshenLuca. You can also follow my YouTube account, TheAshenLuca. And we like to have fun on my Twitter account and on my channel. So, it's jokes. I'm just joking most of the time. Just letting you know. But yeah, thanks so much for having me. I had a great time.
All right, sounds good. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate you tuning in live. And shout out to those guys who do listen to the show later. And so, if you do like my podcast here, you can like and subscribe. I am gonna put it on Spotify as well. And so, if you guys are on Twitter, you can follow me there on Twitter at Theslykrow. And make sure you do share the stream. I shared the podcast. I do appreciate that. And thank you guys once again, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.